All right, 2009 Mazda that I've had for a number of years now is sick, big time. It started making a noise while you were driving. It sounded to me like it was the wheel bearings at first, so I didn't think much of it. And I let my wife drive this on a road trip to a Boy Scout campout, and it was a good number of miles, and when she got back, it sounded horrible. I'm just now starting to look at it. It's been sitting here for a couple weeks, and yeah, it's noisy. I've got it up on jacks, and if I drive it just without any wheels on it, just here spinning, you can hear it rant. It's like grinding pretty bad, really loud. When I pull the dipstick out after running it for a while, I noticed that there's bubbles on it. So I haven't run it since then, since the bubbles are indicating to me that there's water in there. My son says it's got a slight burn smell to it, and it's gray in color. So I'm thinking there's probably some metal damage. I'm gonna at this point drain the fluid and pull the pan and see what kind of metal shavings and crap I find in there. But I'm afraid this one's gone. I'm afraid the transmission's toast. So how did water get in there? Now, on most cars, the radiator has a special tube in it for the transmission to cool. This car doesn't have that. This car has an external cooling unit. Let me see if I can get down here and show it to you. So this thing right here is the transmission heat exchanger. Two lines have water going in and out of it, and then two lines have transmission fluid going in and out. There's no apparent damage to it. It doesn't look rusted or particularly in bad shape, but it could be that it's leaking internally. And that's how that's the only way I can see the water getting in there. I can't think of any other way. I don't know. I don't think it would take much water to damage this, especially if it's been in there for a long time and I had no knowledge of it. And you know, this car doesn't get driven every day. It gets driven monthly. So all I can do is drain the transmission fluid and pull this pan, take a look at things, and hope for the best. I'll put fresh fluid in it, and if that doesn't clear up the grinding noise, then I guess I'm screwed. All right, let me pull the pan. I'll be back. I've just pulled the drain plug, and if I remember correctly, or if I understand correctly, this is going to be magnetic, and I don't see much, if any, metal on that. I'm going to double check to make sure that's magnetic, but this doesn't look like there's any metal shavings. If this is magnetic, I don't see any reason to pull the pan. I mean, I'm scraping it and there's nothing there. Now this car, I bought it with 157,000 miles or something like that. It now has 179, and I changed the transmission fluid when I bought it. So this fluid has 22,000 miles on it, and I'm not seeing any debris on that. So let me check to see if this is magnetic. Yeah, I can just do that right here, couldn't I? I believe these are magnetic. Well, I can't. It may not be. No, I don't think it is. So I'm going to need to pull the pan. But that's clean. I mean, there's there's nothing on that at all, metal-wise, or a little bit of oil transmission fluid. Transmission fluid does look brownish. I get gray and brownish a little bit, so it's like something burned up, and it does. I guess it does have a bit of a burn smell, but it's not horrible. All right, I guess I'll pull the pan then. Got the pan off, and it's really clean. Really clean. Now here's the magnet here. Let's see what's on the magnet. Yes, there's some fine metal on there, but that is completely normal. That's normal wear and tear. I don't see any major shards, metal anywhere. And that sludge is perfectly normal wear. I mean, there's quite a bit there, but that might have been suspended in the transmission fluid that didn't get replaced last time, because I did not flush it. I just emptied and replaced what was lost. So I'm going to clean this up. It's looking good. I don't know why it was frothy, but there's no indication of water. I have put some of the oil in a glass jar to watch and see if it separates and if any water develops at the bottom. If there's a little bit, I think I can live with that, but I mean, the noise is horrible. If it is water damage, then that's going to be a problem. I don't think changing the oil is going to fix that. All right, well, let me get this cleaned up and I'll be back. All right, so I've got the pan all cleaned up. And here's what the rag looked like after I cleaned it. It's blackish gray, grayish black, and pretty typical of metalware. But it was very, very fine metal. It wasn't chunks of metal, so I consider that normal. And that would have been 22,000 miles with only half clean. I replaced half and the other half was left in there dirty. Now here's what the oil looks like that I pulled out. This has been sitting for a while and I don't see any separation. I don't see any indication that there's water in there, but it sure is black. It's black. So I'm thinking there's some sort of damage, but I cannot explain why the transmission is still shifting fine. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and put this back together and put some fresh fluid in it and drive it a day or two, maybe a week of light driving. And then I'm going to drain it again and maybe replace the filter at that time. And see if the noise improves or anything. If the noise doesn't improve, then I guess I don't know what to guess actually. When all this started, like I said, I thought it was wheel bearings, and it may still be, but man, it's really bad, and it seems to be translating through the transmission. It seems to be originating, I should say, through the center area, not the sides where the wheels are. It's hard to tell sometimes. Anyway, I think that's going to be it for now. Let me get it back together and maybe I'll have a closing statement. Okay. Today's the next day and I left this out overnight to see if anything separated. I do not see any indication of water in that, but it is black and nasty. Definitely needs to be replaced. So today I'm going to refill the transmission with the good stuff. Well, I consider it the good stuff. And I'm going to hope that the noise subsides. I don't expect it to go away, but I hope it improves. And if it does, then I will drive the car with between 100 and 200 miles with this in it, and I'll drain it again, put more of it in it, drive it another 200 miles, assuming the transmission continues to improve. And then at the end of that, if there's still improvement, I'll do it one more time, and then I'm just going to have to live with it. So that's the plan. I'm going to put the transmission fluid right there where the filler tube is, and I'll be back. I've put the fluid in, and I've gone through the gears to get the oil all through the transmission. So it still makes some serious noises. So like when I put it in reverse, hear that loud clunking noise? That doesn't sound too good. But it goes into gear pretty quick. It goes into gear within a second or two, so that's normal. That means the torque converter, I guess, is good. When I go into neutral, makes a little bit of a clunking noise. When I go into drive, not a clunking noise that time. I can downshift and upshift. Nothing changes there. Go into neutral, no noise. Go into reverse. Got a loud clunking noise. That doesn't sound good. All right, go into park. No noise. So it's all about the reverse gear, huh? Go into reverse, between park and reverse. Pretty loud clunk, but it engages pretty quick. From reverse to neutral, a little bit of noise. But into drive, no noise. Now let's just let the wheel spin a little bit, or the hubs. Hear that horrible noise? That is bad. Yeah, I think the transmission is shot. That sounds really bad. Wow. I just don't know if the bad transmission fluid would have caused that or what happened. But my initial thought about it being water was incorrect. Those bubbles were in there because the oil, I guess, was worn out. Yeah. Listen to that. That's drive. That's really, really bad. It sounds worse since I've changed the fluid. What about reverse? Surprisingly, it sounds better in reverse. Something catastrophic happened to this transmission. I think this car is done. I don't know how long I should expect it to take for the noise to improve, but this sounds worse than before I started. And I don't think it's wheel bearings because there's no wheels on the front. We're just spinning the hubs, and that means it's the transmission. The only other thing I can think of is the axles. Could the axle make that kind of noise? I doubt it. Well, if you have any thoughts on this, let me know. But right now I'm kind of concluding the transmission is gone. Wow, that's bad. Hope you guys can hear this. All right, I think that's going to be it for this video. I've decided that it's going to be one of two things. It's either going to be the transmission or it's going to be an axle. And the more likely axle is the passenger side because it's longer. It's got an additional bearing. So I'm going to take it out and take a look at it. But before I go any further, that clunking noise that I was hearing when I was putting it into reverse was nothing serious, actually. It was this thing here. With the brakes on, it was being grasped, and there's quite a bit of slack or slop in this here. So it was just the rotor hitting the studs. So that clunking noise is nothing. It's not a concern at all. That grinding noise, though, while we were in drive and reverse, that is a problem, and I have to eliminate the axle. Once I've eliminated the axles, then it has to be the transmission, and I will not repair this. I'll just be parting it out, selling it as junk or whatever. Anyway, let me get finished taking this apart, and I'll get that axle out, and I'll be back. Okay, got the axle completely out, and I've tested it again with the axle out, and the noise is completely gone. So that eliminates the transmission. Thank God. Anybody want to guess what the problem was? If you want to guess, pause the video here, and I'll tell you the answer. Okay, so there were several possibilities. It could have been one of these CV axles was bad. I've seen those bust, and if you've watched my other videos, you've seen one explode on me. So one of those could have been bad. The intermediate bearing back there, right there, that could have gone bad. Dirt and stuff could have gotten there and caused the bearing to go bad. And the only other possibility, I mean, there's other possibilities, but the only really realistic possibility is the wheel bearing, and that's what it is. This wheel bearing is shot. Let me spin it, and you might be able to hear it. Hear that? That's forward and reverse. Reverse makes less noise. The kids next door were I was wondering if they got hurt or something. I guess they're okay. Reverse makes less noise than forward. So an experienced mechanic, first of all, I'm not an experienced mechanic. I don't even like working on cars. I guess mechanics don't either, actually. But this is what I thought months ago. I was hearing a noise, and I thought, well, it's probably wheel bearings are going bad. But then all of a sudden, after the car sat for a while, and the fluid was so bad in the transmission, and it was such a global sound, it sounded like the transmission was dying. It sounded like the gears or something were grinding up. I didn't think it was this anymore. But yeah, that's it. I need to replace both sides, just be on the safe side. So I'll probably go through 1A Auto for that and use the TQR brand. Yes, I know the ones in Japan, the Tiken or whatever they call those brands, Timken. The ones made in Japan are the best to get, but seriously, I don't know how much longer I'm going to drive this car or whatever. So I'm gonna go the more economical route. I can get 2 new hubs and 2 new bearings for like $90 shipped, and they've got lifetime warranties. But what I don't have are the tools to remove these. So I need to get tools to remove the bearings and the hubs, so I can install new ones. I'll order those parts ASAP and start shopping around for tools. So that's it for this video. If you get noises and you're not sure, and don't assume it's a transmission. That's the moral of this story. It's going to be hopefully something like this, you know, a lot cheaper. But definitely that's the problem. And the other side may be bad too, but that's, I've gone far enough. Actually, the other side checks out because the noise went completely away. So this side definitely needs to be replaced. This is the passenger side, by the way. Anyway, that's the end of this video. Thanks for watching.